Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukatali.
And it's a wonderful morning to you from Newsline, live as always from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo, and broadcasting on TV1, part of the Capital Maharaja Group. And on this wonderful morning, when the fuel supplies seem to have returned to normal, yippee, we have got that rather outspoken observer of matters current and political and legal, Mr. Hemantha Warnakulasuriya himself. Very good morning to you, Mr. Warnakulasuriya.
Good morning, Faraz. Good morning, Faraz.
Do you often wonder what it is that you're doing up so early? And this is not a paying brief, is it?
Yeah, but when you summon me, I'm in two worlds. Whether to say aye and come here, or whether to say no. But you are such a compelling, person. I always say aye, and very rarely say no.
Well, you know, we, the public are very grateful that you tend to say aye more than nay.
Thank you.
Because, you know, your take on these matters that have troubled the conscience of the people of this country is very, very important. And when a person with your legal background analyzes and gives your take, it's becoming even more potent. And on that note, very quick question. We have the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ravi Karunanayake, who has been asked to come and help the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, because his name has been mentioned. Now, as a member of the Cabinet, Mr. Karunanayake is patently aware of the time limits and constraints and so on that is challenging this Commission of Inquiry. Mr. Karunanayake also, being a citizen of the country and having been so present for 2.5 years at least, is patently aware that this bond matter needs to be resolved one way or another. Then, Mr. Warnakulasuriya, my question to you is, why has he not perhaps postponed the meeting or made some time, created some time? The judges yesterday were even willing to have him at the weekend to accommodate the minister.
You're asking me the question about postponements. Unfortunately,
the delays in law.
Unfortunately, most lawyers would cherish postponements
because they get paid again.
They say that saying the lawyers live on dates. So Mr. Karunanayake made this application through his lawyer.
Say that again. They changed. What's that? Lawyers.
Lawyers, they say, live on dates.
On dates, and they're not the fruity type of dates.
So, so therefore, I have empathy and sympathy with Mr. Karunanayake. Serious allegations have been made by a witness whose father is a very well-known businessman. My classmate at Royal College or my junior, and therefore these allegations are so serious that it needs to be probed. And the Commission has given him time, and through the lawyer he has made an application, and the application has been accepted for a postponement. So I don't think the Commission could do anything more than to wait till the 2nd of August, the date that he has given, and we have to wait. We have some patience, because I know it's very, very important, very, very urgent, and I'm so happy that this government, this Commission has audacity or to summon Mr. Karunanayake without any reservations.
You said you counsel patience. Yeah. I'm sorry, Mr. Warnakulasuriya. How much of patience do you expect the Republic to have? Yeah. This blessed Bondgate has been going on since end of February 2015.
Yeah.
They came into power on the 8th of January, for heaven's sake, 2015.
Yeah.
Not even 2 months later,
Yeah.
they've engaged in the easily, and arguably the most corrupt transaction in the history of post-independent Sri Lanka.
For us, you must understand, the president did not appoint a special presidential commission. It's a presidential commission of inquiry under the Commission of Inquiry Act.
Yes.
And
But that's now.
it can only make recommendations.
Right.
Now, under Jaya Jayawardena special presidential commission imposed certain liabilities, took away the civic rights of certain persons, Ms. Bandaranaike. But this commission,
I am not so certain what is more important here.
No, but-
whether
but-
it is civic rights or the recovery of the money stolen
even the recovery
from
of the
from
money,
our treasury.
the recovery of the money, the commission can make some observations and then recommendations that must be carried out. Here in Sri Lanka, we must understand we are in a country where, when we are in power, we get together to defeat the so-called rogues who are in power, and then go before the public and say, we are Mr. Clean, our government is clean, we will eradicate corruption.
Yes. Let me give you a different spin on that,
Yeah.
shall we? These people didn't plug and ply the path of good governance
Yeah.
in pursuit of good governance.
Yeah.
They appear to have traversed this path of good governance
Yeah.
for their personal benefit.
Yeah.
Corruption has not abated. It is arguably increased.
Yeah.
What is the single, where is the single new project that this government
Yeah.
has brought in?
For us,
Where is the money?
For us, I agree with you. What I am trying to say, the cycle of the evil forces which turn and which play on the gullible public to vote for them, promising them to eradicate corruption, poverty, and bribery. But
You know,
when they come into power,
Yes.
they supersede the acts of corruption, bribery from the previous government, and this has happened throughout after 1956. That has been the common fate of this country, where politicians get together, try to protect each other, and they know they are in the same cabinet, same game. They try to use bribery, corruption to fatten their purses.
Janet, tell me, the parliamentary standing orders, we can understand a cabinet meeting,
Yeah.
and we can understand quite easily the attendance in parliament. Although, having said that, sometimes we're wondering whether it's worth attending parliament anyway,
Yeah.
because of the way they conduct themselves in parliament, which is deplorable. They should be ashamed of themselves. And these are so-called upstanding ladies and gentlemen, yeah, and they don't even know how to behave in the most sort of basic fashion. Leave that alone. But in times it's not even a war situation, and he said he had to go to the National Security Council. We fact-checked it. He was there, and so there you are. But the Commission didn't do anything wrong. They
No, the
accommodated
Commission
him.
had done perfectly
They-
well.
they
have-
accommodated him.
They have.
So why
they
is he
have
running
done-
off to the Speaker and
No,
complaining?
they have within their limitation, within their powers acted, and we must thank the commissioners for having
Yes,
done so.
of
But
course.
the minister, if he had not attended the commission meeting, and if the excuse is not plausible or not accepted, and as you say that he attended the Security Council meeting, therefore the commission had given them a date. So I mean, have patience, only a few days more, 2nd of August, he will come and give evidence. Then only, if after the evidence, there is at the moment very serious allegations against him.
Yeah.
Now I must tell you, for us, when the government, when another government is in power, when the Lalit Atulat Mudalik Commission took place, I was defending the accused that the absolutely false judicial circus to implicate the UNP,
Yeah.
and I was appearing for them. And then when the commissioners went out of their way to bring false witnesses and commit perjury, and on that false evidence implicated various persons, the Attorney General's Department, what did they do? They did not wait till the conclusion of the commission report. They went and arrested those people who were suspected of have committing this offence, and they remanded them. So my position is now here, the next step is, once the minister gives evidence, and then when you weigh the evidence of the witness and the minister, then there is a serious doubt whether the Attorney General's Department or the Bribery Commission would take cognizance of that evidence and then start their own investigation. That is what they must do. They must not wait till the commission report is over for them to come to a conclusion. They don't have to. They can, in the interest of the country, in the interest of the public, in the interest of the people who voted for them, the two agencies, the Attorney General Department.
What's the counter argument to that?
There is no counter argument. The Attorney General Department can, if they want to, the counter argument is they can always say, no, we will await the recommendations of the commission. No?
Because
this is not like, there is no, in the Srimao Bandaranaike case, there was absolutely no fraud. Whatever that he did was where the emergency was extended, she was deprived of her civic rights. But here, there is a serious allegation which can be investigated into by the Bribery Department, Bribery Commission, and also by the CID and by the AG, whether this involves government property, misappropriation, breach of government property. So therefore, that is not a bailable offence. So therefore, if you feel that there is sufficient evidence, the Attorney General Department must take action, produce them in court, and start an independent investigation, independent of the commission.
But with all due respect to Mr. Karunanaka, and his PR advisors can't be very good at this job, because this is exactly what they ought to have advised him and said, go there, it'll be an hour or so, get on, finish it off and carry on working as a cabinet minister. Instead of that, it appears that there is this bull in the china shop attitude.
My position is, if he has no time to appear before the commission, on the 2nd of August also, if he gives the lame excuse, then if he says that he has so much of work, he must step down. He must step aside.
Yes.
He must not step down. He must step aside and say, there is an acting minister. When he goes abroad, there is a person to act.
Correct.
And the acting minister can take over the portfolio until this evidence is led and investigations are completed. He can step aside, and that will give the message that he is such an honourable man. Moment this allegation is brought in, according to my conscience, I have stepped aside. I have not resigned. I have stepped aside from minister, so that the commission and any other person can have a full and investigation. Because I know I'm completely innocent of these allegations. If that is so, if that is said, instead of saying that I will go and make statement to the commission, I'm at the Security Council. These are excuses that are not acceptable to anyone. Now I have been reading columns written in various news media about those people, the very people who supported this government. Those people, the writers.
He's let them all down.
They let them all down. And then also, what is shocking is not what has been revealed by this witness of the commission, but what Mr. Mahindananda Alutgamage,
said in Parliament.
Said in Parliament. Now, Mr. Mahindananda Alutgamage said this was brought to the notice of the House by him few months before. He even tendered the documents, and then what is important is Mr. Ravi Karunanayake completely denied it.
Yeah.
Further, he said that it shocked my conscience. The Prime Minister, Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, got up and said that wanted the Speaker's permission to report him to the Privileges Committee for lying. Now, what is this nexus? I mean, did Mr. Wickremesinghe no statement is said without even examining whether the contents of the statement is true or not? Can he say that the member of Parliament in the opposition is lying? Now, so therefore it is obvious, like all the other regimes, they are all in one band. They wanted to protect each other.
Mr. Rusripala Tennakoon was on our programs, and he was on particularly on Sirius, our sister channel this morning, and he was explaining why, there's nothing wrong if Mr. Karunanayake clearly has a friendship with these people who own Mendis and Perpetual and so on. There's nothing wrong. And a friend, he needed a place, and the friend is a generous chap, and he's paid for his rent.
Yeah.
But Mr. Rusripala pointed out that we have to examine it in a larger context, because Mr. Karunanayake has been one of the most vociferous defendants of this Bondgate.
Yeah.
If you remember at the beginning, if I can take you through, Mr. Karunanayake, we have to understand, even though he was the Minister of Finance, that he didn't have the central bank listed under him. It was listed under some other person, and that person just happens to be the Prime Minister, serving today his fourth time as Prime Minister. Now then, Mr. Karunanayake attended a meeting of the central bank to discuss finance requirements. That's fine. He then made an unprecedented appearance at the central bank after the scandal broke out to talk to primary dealers. He virtually, one dealer says to me that he felt intimidated, and I ain't telling anyone who told me that, but I've got it here with me. Now, that was another matter. Then Mr. Karunanayake cast aspersions on the professional ability of that wonderful man, the Auditor General of Sri Lanka. And he was on this program, and he asked me what on earth I was going on about the bond, because he said, what are these losses? Who's quantified it? Well, hello? The Auditor General has quantified it on the day that it was issued. And when you take all that into account, and then you find that a related party has made the payment of approximately 1.4 million per month for your housing, I think the flag of suspicion has been raised.
But I'm trying to say, I do not agree with Mr. Rusripala that there's nothing wrong in a person giving 1.4 million.
But he didn't say that. But what he was saying is, I asked the question, what's wrong? And his answer is this.
My position is, once this is, in a simple bribery case, those days when we defended bribery suspects, the one of the defenses that they tell me, the police officer tells me, is that, sir, I did not take a bribe. He took a loan from me, and then I need to return. So
well, that might be the case.
No, those are excuses, but still investigations go on, people are charged, then you have to give the explanation, and no court believes it. So my position is that even if there was absolutely nothing wrong in Mr. Ravi Karunanayake accepting 1.5 million rupees rent from from Aloysius or one of his cronies, my position that must be investigated. That must be investigated by the bribery commission. By the bribery commission, because
because that's why they're
that is why, because already there is a complaint made by Mr. Mahindananda again. Now why isn't the bribery commission not investigating? So therefore, obviously, the bribery commission, I'm always appreciative, and as indeed that our network is, and I'm sure you will be when you hear this. This is a question posed to us by a viewer. I don't know who it is, only a telephone number appears on here. During the last elections, how many contestants submitted their assets before they entered Parliament, including those who had lost? That's a legal requirement. Yeah. So what about now? There is a legal requirement, but then there must be also a clause to take action on those people who have not submitted the return. Their nominations must be rejected. Now there is nothing like that.
It's a bit like these duty-free permits. We made a big song and dance about it, and we continued to shout. We even shouted and shouted until we were hoarse. And what did they do? They just stopped it for a little bit, and then all of a sudden, lo and behold, the Port of Colombo was full of these cars that were being imported for these chaps. And the trading in the duty-free permits was at an all-time high. Very, very few people actually didn't sell their permit. We had Faisal Mustafa, who came in here, and he even told us, disclosed that he even got a special rate of interest. As a, wouldn't you like that? Or do you have your own?
My position is that there is sufficient, there are a number of people who have complained against Ravi Karunanayake and the Prime Minister to the Bribery Commission. And we do not know whether any progress is being made, whether any questions are being, whether people are interrogated, nothing. So therefore, you would see that the entire government setup is so established in order
it's entrenched,
in order to protect those people who rob the people's money. But in this case, I must tell you quite categorically that a person by the name of Dappula Livera, he the senior most officer in the department after the
Attorney General. You can praise people, but you can't knock them.
I'm saying that we, the entire country, owes a deep debt of gratitude. The manner in which he is conducting this case,
the
manner in
well
which,
said.
And manner in which fearlessly how he has presented this case.
Wonderful.
And his team, Mr. Jasanta Kodagoda, we all owe a deep debt of gratitude. I must also say that this shows that the Attorney General Department, that people like B.S.A. Puranayagam, one of the great prosecutors, Mr. Ranjit Abesuriya, great independent prosecutors, then Mr. Kevin Senavaratna, then after that Mr. Upavansyapa, those are people who I can name who could not be influenced by any government, whether the UNP or the SLP failed to influence them. They acted independently, they acted honorably, and they did not make any concessions to the government in power. Now, similarly, Dappula Livera may have got instructions, soft pedal this, may have got instructions to
if you've been watching him in action during this Presidential Commission of Inquiry, if you've been watching him, I'll tell you what, he's not paying heed to any instructions he's got.
Absolutely true. He would have thrown away the instructions, and he has a conscience, and he comes from a very great family. My teacher in the Constitution law, Mr. Jal Kure's daughter, he's married to, and I believe. Then what about the two commissioners?
Indeed.
Chitra Siri and Mr. Prasanna Javadan.
You mustn't forget the retired Deputy Auditor General.
Absolutely true. And also the team, the CID team who is assisting them in order to unfold this great scam. I think we as Sri Lankans must be at least now happy that at least there are few people like that, who try to expose this whole thing. Now, what happens after that is another matter.
I can't help but agree with you more after I went to see the Presidential Commission in action is today. And Mr. Kodagoda told court and told the commissioners that it was absolutely, the word he used was imperative that Arjuna Mahendra, the former governor of the central bank, hand over his communications equipment forthwith. The word he used was imperative, and he wanted it forthwith. And he explained why. He said there are people who have lost their telephones or damaged their phones in swimming pools in Singapore, and others whose children have dumped it in the garbage, and all sorts of absolute rubbish. That, by the way, the word rubbish was used by the opposing counsel. But Mr. De Oliveira was having none of it. There was a suggestion that this was being done for the benefit of the public. And he said, this whole commission of inquiry is because of public concern. And the public have a right to know. And the public's right to know is transmitted and carried forth by the media. He stated the obvious, but the counsel appearing for the other side seemed a bit out of their depth when he was talking about these very simple but essential matters. And like you say, hats off to the team. They're wonderful, and the country, like you say, should be proud. We've got some questions from people. It says, will the new finance minister seal a particular company for non-payment of excise duty which has been exposed by the JVP? Another question, another statement. JVP's Vasanta Samarasinghe exposed all these details. 2 investigations against a duty-free operator was stopped by the former Minister of Finance due to reasons best known to him. Can the new finance minister give instructions to resume investigation? We don't know. But you can see by the level of these questions
I believe
that the public, their conscience has been aroused.
The present finance minister, if he is given the freedom to act, I must say Mr. Mangala Samaravida will definitely act and expose these corruption.
Thus far, he seems to be doing all right.
But I believe in an absolutely honourable man who will ensure that these matters are exposed. In fact, I have no doubt that he will do the same. And he is not a man ever been accused of bribery or corruption. But the thing is this, you must understand, he may be a loner in the cabinet. There may be others around him who will impose their will and impose their conditions and tell them just to set aside those matters because these are our people, we must go ahead and then ensure that we win the next elections, and we must have money to contest the elections, and the one way of making money. So therefore, but I do not know whether Mr. Mangala Samaravida, having known him, he is a man who is above these matters involving money, and he will definitely take a stand if he is given the freedom to do so.
The freedom to behave, the freedom to act. This has all been conferred upon these people by the people of Sri Lanka. 14-odd million people who voted, that's what they did. Now then, Mr. Ravi Karunaka says that he'll answer any question the Presidential Commission inquiry asks, in which case he should just get himself down.
There's no question. If he's summoned, if he's the witness box, he must answer the questions. He can't say no.
On the other side of this balance, we have the President who says no to 3 of Ravi Karunaka's requests to use Visumpaya.
I believe
I wonder why he needs Visumpaya.
Has the responsibility. He appointed this commission, and once Mr. Ravi Karunaka gives evidence.
Last and final question.
He will have to take a decision.
Our producer Sarala is having a fit now because we're supposed to finish. Now then, last and final question. You, as citizen of this country, Hemantawala Kulusuri, citizen of Sri Lanka, do you think President Sirisena should remove Ravi Karunaka? Yes or no?
If the evidence points out to his guilt or that some investigation must proceed, he must be removed. He must be removed.
Really last question. Should Mr. Karunaka step aside?
I believe before he be removed, it will be a very honourable act for him to step aside and permit the investigation to go on.
Well, that's about it for Newsline. Thank you very much, Hemantawana Kulusurya. We really appreciate you being here. Thursday, the 27th of July, 2017. Take care. God bless.